Hey guys, it's Owen from Wrestling Inc. back with another wrestling news roundup. Without any further ado, let's get into today's biggest stories in the world of professional wrestling. WWE announces venue change for Money in the Bank. WWE Money in the Bank will not be emanating from the Las Vegas Raiders Allegiant Stadium after all. Fans who bought tickets for the July 2nd event received emails yesterday notifying them that Money in the Bank will now be taking place at the MGM Grand Garden Arena on the same scheduled day. Several fans have taken to social media to post their updated poster revealing the change. It should be noted that the poster also reveals that fans who purchased tickets for Money in the Bank at Allegiant Stadium will now have the first crack to purchase tickets for the event in the MGM Grand Garden Arena before anyone else. The poster also notes that anyone who purchased tickets via Ticketmaster will receive an automatic refund. As of this recording, no reason has been given for why WWE is changing venues for the Money in the Bank event. The most recent update regarding ticket sales for the event came a month ago from WrestleTix, who estimated that WWE had sold 16,826 tickets for Money in the Bank, with a total capacity set up to be over 25,000. This would seem to indicate WWE was planning on scaling down capacity compared to when the promotion ran SummerSlam at Allegiant Stadium last August, where they drew over 51,000 fans for the first event in the stadium. Money in the Bank was announced for Allegiant Stadium only a day after SummerSlam took place. It's unclear what capacity WWE will be aiming for at the MGM Grand Garden Arena. The building can fit close to 17,000 fans, although it has generally been set up for smaller capacities for wrestling shows. The most high-profile wrestling show to take place at the building in recent memory was the AEW Double or Nothing 2019 show, the first show in AEW history. The show sold out in 4 minutes with its aimed capacity of 11,000 fans. Roman Reigns and several top WWE stars no longer advertise for Money in the Bank. It appears WWE's decision to downgrade Money in the Bank's venue from the 65,000-seater Allegiant Stadium to the 17,000-seater MGM Grand Garden could have creative ramifications. In the aftermath of WWE announcing the venue change, fans on social media have pointed out how the updated poster for the July 2nd Premium Live event is now no longer advertising top WWE superstars such as Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar, Ronda Rousey, Charlotte Flair, Becky Lynch, and Bobby Lashley. Reigns, Lesnar, Flair, and Rousey also no longer appear on the event page at WWE.com as they did previously. The updated poster, which can be seen on social media, features the likes of Cody Rhodes, Riddle, Rhea Ripley, The Miz, and the Street Profits, none of whom were on the previous poster. An earlier report from the Wrestling Observer suggested that Reigns is slated to defend his undisputed WWE Universal Championship against Riddle at the Money in the Bank event, before moving on to Randy Orton at SummerSlam and Drew McIntyre at the Clash at the Castle event in Cardiff, Wales. With the latter two events still scheduled for stadiums, Nissan Stadium and Principality Stadium, fans can expect WWE to pull out all the stops as they have historically done for stadium shows. It should be noted, however, that online promotional material isn't always an accurate indicator of WWE's creative plans. Therefore, the rumoured Reigns vs Riddle match at Money in the Bank can't be ruled out yet. From a creative standpoint, the seeds for the match have been sown over the past few weeks, with the Bloodline brutally attacking Riddle on last week's SmackDown, and Riddle's subsequent promo on Raw where he referred to Reigns as a, quote, tribal piece of trash. Kenny Omega reportedly not traveling to Las Vegas for AEW Double or Nothing. Fans hoping to see Kenny Omega's return to AEW programming will have to wait a little longer. The AEW EVP won't be traveling to Las Vegas for this Sunday's Double or Nothing pay-per-view, Dave Meltzer confirmed on the latest issue of the Wrestling Observer newsletter. The report suggested that Omega might have re-aggravated a few nagging injuries by resuming his backstage role in recent weeks. Omega reportedly produced a few of the women's division matches earlier this month, returning to the road for the first time since he began his rehab process from various surgeries. Meltzer added that since the travel, quote, was too early for the healing needed for his injuries, end quote, Omega is no longer on the road with AEW. Omega has stated previously that parts of his body are healthy, but others are healing slower than expected. Furthermore, Omega is resigned to the fact that physically he'll never again be 100% and is looking at reversing some of the physical damage so as to extend his time as an effective pro wrestler. On a positive note, Omega is reportedly able to train well and push himself harder each week. The cleaner has been on the shelf since dropping the AEW World Championship to Hangman Page at November's Full Gear pay-per-view. There has never been a time frame provided on Omega's potential in-ring return. Backstage update on Colt Cabanas' AEW status. Colt Cabana is reportedly being earmarked to be involved with Ring of Honor moving forward if and when the company is to get started. According to a report in the latest Wrestling Observer newsletter, this decision could be down to his issues with CM Punk, who joined the AEW roster almost 1 year ago. The two men used to be best friends but had a public fallout after the lawsuit that saw them go against WWE and Dr. Chris Arman. Cabana has previously signed a new deal with AEW, and that is something that the Young Bucks had pushed to make happen. Since that point, Cabana has not been present at any of the AEW tapings, but he did work a match at the Supercard of Honor show. He defeated Blake Christian in a pre-show match, with this being the first Ring of Honor event that was run by Tony Khan. WWE and Arman tried to sue the wrestlers for the comments they made during an interview on Cabana's podcast, The Art of Wrestling. Cabana had claimed that the former WWE champion was going to cover his costs for the trial, which led to him trying to sue his former friend, yet Punk had other opinions. The current number one contender for the AEW World Championship responded to tweets back in 2019 stating that Colt was greedy and had actually tried to extort him. It has never been clear as to who was right or wrong in this situation, but it's obvious that the court case and the aftermath from that split their genuine friendship. The eventual case between the two ended up being settled with no financial situation involved, and they were dismissed with prejudice, so they couldn't go back to court over this matter. Update on WWE plans to crown new women's tag team champions. As reported earlier, Sasha Banks and Naomi were suspended indefinitely by WWE following their walkout from last week's Raw. While making the announcement on Friday's SmackDown, Michael Cole revealed that a tournament would be held to crown new women's tag team champions, titles that were vacated as a result of Banks and Naomi's suspensions. Cole didn't specify when the tournament would be held or which teams would be participating in it. He was simply quoted as saying, quote, "We will have a future tournament to crown the new WWE Women's Tag Team Champions," shortly after lamenting that Banks and Naomi, quote, "let us all down" by staging a walkout during a live TV show. A similar sentiment that was echoed by Corey Graves earlier this week on Raw. In an update, the latest Wrestling Observer newsletter notes that WWE Creative has made several different pitches regarding the format of the impending tournament, with at least 2 pitches calling for a 4-team tournament. In one pitch, the 4 teams discussed are Natalya and Shayna Baszler, Tamina and Dana Brooke, Nikki ASH and Doudrop, and Carmella and Queen Zelina Vega. For what it's worth, the team of Carmella and Vega split up following their loss at WrestleMania 38, so they'd have to reunite to enter the tournament. With the exception of Natalya and Baszler, no other women's team has been used regularly on WWE TV, although Nikki and Doudrop did lose to Banks and Naomi on Raw a few weeks ago. Natalya and Baszler have been teaming up regularly at WWE live events and even wrestled Banks and Naomi in a televised tag team title match a few weeks ago on SmackDown. There is also the possibility of WWE calling up teams from NXT for the tournament to crown new women's tag team champions. So what are your thoughts on today's Wrestling News Roundup? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Be sure to like and subscribe to Wrestling Inc. and I'll speak to you again very, very soon.